And hello YouTube, this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'm today on a brand new video for Gaming with GS. And today we're here on Guild Wars 2, and we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the new things that are going to be coming into the game, some new things that Arena have discussed and are in game right now, as well as the new raid content that has been teased already. And just going to give you some background on that because we will be talking about the White Mantle, which is going to be the subject of that next raid wing. And the White Mantle have never really been in the picture so much in Guild Wars 2. Rather, they were very much so in the picture in Guild Wars 1. And I did some research. I learned about it myself, and it's a pretty interesting story, so I want to share it with you so when you do the raid wing, you aren't completely lost and you at least have a good background. However, ArenaNet did say that this raid wing that's coming out is going to be there mainly to give a background on the White Mantle, so that perhaps if they want to take it further with this group, they can take it further elsewhere in the game, and people won't be completely lost and confused about who the White Mantle are. Now, just a few other things I want to go over real quick. Developers have mentioned, and this isn't really anything, well, some of it's new, some of it really isn't new at all. We have known that a new Fractal will be added into the game this year. New Fractals are planned, and it has been confirmed once again that new Fractals will be added in 2016. We were also told that one of the core systems in Fractals, there will be a revamp to that. Which one of those core systems it is, I don't really know. It could be the instabilities. It could be, you know, how we do fractals, whether we have to still do 1 or 3 or whatnot. Who knows? But it's a core system. They didn't really say anything about what it is. Just know that there may be a really big change to fractals, and it is coming in 2016. My guess is probably going to come with the Living World season update, which will be in sometime around late summer, maybe fall, probably fall though. The other thing we did know is that in the next release, so probably the next patch, or maybe it's the next quarterly release, a 6th pip is going to be added to the Provisioner Master Ability line, which is a War vs. World ability line, that allows you to buy Heart of Thorns recipes, sigils, and runes from the Heroics Notary vendor. Now, the thing with this is that people who play War vs. World, they don't really have access to any of the Heart of Thorns recipes or sigils or runes, mainly because those stat types are mainly only acquirable through PvE. So what's going to happen in the next release is that you're going to be able to buy those Heart of Thorn things probably with War vs. World currency, which is great because those people who play War vs. World, you know, they shouldn't be forced to play PvE just to have access to the new stat types or to new runes and to new sigils. You know, they should be able to buy those as well through War vs. World. Personally, I think it's a great idea, but then on the other hand, I feel like, well, is it going to be easier to buy it from War vs. World? Because then there's really no point in having it in PvE, because people are just going to choose War vs. World, buying it from there over buying it from the PvE vendors. Because I think you need certain currency as well in PvE. But then again, I don't think it really matters, because what's the difference between getting currency from a PvE map than getting currency from War vs. World? It's pretty much the same. Hopefully one isn't made easier than the other though, because then people are just going to go to War vs. World and just buy all their crap from there, and the PvE vendors, people won't even care about to buy the runes and sigils from there anymore, because it's easier to buy it anyway from War vs. World. But we'll see what happens and how they deal with that. Now, server transfers are once again available too. The only 2 servers that you cannot transfer to is the ones that are obviously full, and I think that's the Tarnished Coast, and I forget the other one. There's only 2 that are full though, and you can't transfer into those. So, I didn't expect to transfer into those because they're full anyway. So just tough luck if you wanted to join in one of those. But you can now transfer. Most people mistake it for the fact that you could transfer before. They actually disabled transferring. Now you can transfer again though. So if you're in a very low populated server and you want to go to a more populated server, you can transfer now. Now be aware that this is only mainly aimed towards World versus World. We have mega servers in PvE, we have mega servers in PvP. All the servers are in PvP combined together, and all the servers are combined together in PvP. As well as Fractals and Dungeons, it's all combined together on a mega server. So don't mistake this for, oh, I don't see a lot of people running around in my area, I want to have more players. It's probably because you're running around an area that not many people are. Such as, I don't know, some random area that no one goes to really? Who knows? So this is only geared to World versus World. If you feel like your World versus World isn't populated enough, you can transfer to a new server that perhaps has a higher population, hence a higher population in World versus World. However, I recommend doing some research on the servers, maybe asking someone on Reddit or the Guild Wars 2 community which servers are good at World versus World if you're into that. There is a price to this though. It's not free transfer. It does cost gems. So you're going to have to either put real life money into it or convert it from gold to gems. Speaking of gems, the gem price has also increased immensely. I remember 400 gems used to be like, what, 60, 70 gold? And this was quite recent. This was very recent. This was like, I don't know, like around 3-4 months ago. Like, gem conversion was 70 gold or 60 gold for 400 gems. Now we're sitting at like 125 gold for 400 gems only. And I guarantee you it has to do with the dailies. The new dailies, everyone's getting 2 gold. And heck, you multiply that across like, I don't know how many players do it every day. And then the dungeon rewards, there's more liquid gold now in this game. Everyone's a little richer. So that means that gems are going to be a bit more expensive. I like how that system works, but then again, I liked how I didn't have to pay so much for 400 gems. But that's just a neat little thing that I figured out the other day. I didn't even know that happened, but it did happen. So rip cheap gem prices. So yeah, also a quick side note, if you are transferring to a lower populated server, for example, the price to transfer to a low populated server compared to a medium populated server compared to a high populated server, all will affect the gem price. So I think like going to a high populated server or a very high populated server is like over 1,000 gems, while if you transfer to like a medium or low populated, it's like 400 gems or 200 gems, something like that. So that is affected by it as well. Another neat little thing is that Guild Wars 2 will also be having a stream schedule. I think today they actually announced that on their main websites they are going to be promoting certain streams. So if you're ever looking to watch a Guild Wars 2 stream, and for the record, I don't stream because, well, I did stream one day, but I realized that it's very hectic. I don't have that much time anyway. But if you do want to look for a Guild Wars 2 streamer, they are promoting streamers. I think like every day or every 2 days they're going to be featuring a streamer, and they'll basically tell a little bit about that streamer, and they'll link the stream and you can watch it. And I think this is partially so to promote guild chat, because they are promoting guild chat also. However, I think it's also to promote the big community, because there are a lot of people who stream, and they're going to be promoting streamers for every language. So if you don't speak English very well and you want to watch someone in a different language, you can do so. So those are sort of all the little things that are happening. The new raid teaser was released. If you want to check it out, I think I will have some footage on screen. But if you want to check the full trailer out with sound and everything, you can. I'll leave a link in the description. It's a pretty neat looking teaser trailer, and funnily enough, I don't know if it's because everyone complained about the last teaser they made, but they made it under 30 seconds. And you usually can't monetize videos under 30 seconds, so I don't know if they made it specifically 29 seconds. So I found that weird. I don't know if that was like a, hey guys, we're not doing it to get paid, okay? 29 seconds, okay? We don't care about the monetization. 30 seconds is just a nice little, trailer length. It's standard. So I don't know if that was purposely done or not. I don't really care. I just thought it was a neat little thing that I noticed. And so yeah, if you want to check the teaser out, leave a link in the description. But we are going to be facing the White Mantle. And now, if you don't know anything about the White Mantle was actually a very prominent group in Guild Wars 1 and not very mentioned in Guild Wars 2, mainly because, well, they were basically a lot of them were killed in Guild Wars 1. So the idea here, and there's actually a behind the scenes look of this raid wing, which is really interesting. If you want to check that out, once again, I'll have probably footage in the background, but full link to the full video will be in the description. There's a behind the scenes video on the ideas behind this new raid wing. You'll see like how they created some of the bosses in there. You'll see like, you know, how their animation program runs through it and their design program and stuff like that. It's pretty cool and pretty neat. If you're into like seeing how games are made, or you're into seeing how some of their narration is done, or how they make some of the decisions on the raids, you can definitely watch that video. I found it very interesting. But yes, this raid wing will focus on the White Mantle and sort of introducing players to the White Mantle if they weren't introduced to them before. And so if they want to go further with the idea of the White Mantle, perhaps use them in Living World Season 3 or in the future, they can do so without running into the fact that no one knows what the White Mantle are because they didn't play Guild Wars 1. Now, I did want to talk a little bit about the White Mantle because it is an interesting story, and the Shining Blade are involved as well. And if you remember, the Shining Blade were also involved in the second current event. We were helping the Shining Blade kill off bandits in Krita because we were filling out banditry orders, right? These banditry orders were part of the Shining Blade, and these are considered to be the quote-unquote good Crichton group, while the White Mantle is considered to be the bad Crichton group. Now, if you don't know who the White Mantle are, these are basically a group of people who worship the Mersat, and the Mersat are known to be the unseen gods. At least that's how they were termed in Guild Wars 1. The Mersat are basically the spellcastery type of race, and the White Mantle see them as gods, which is why they usually dress in like long white robes. And in Guild Wars 1, at least how the storyline went is that while the White Mantle were in Krita, basically worshipping the Mersat or the unseen gods, they wanted to make sure that everyone else in Krita was worshipping them as well. So they had a pretty hard grip on the Krita population, bringing people into their groups and then also rewarding them and making sure that everyone abides by the rules of the Unseen One, which are the Mersat. And everyone who joined their group basically got, like, you know, better clothing, better food, they were treated special, you know. The whole goal was to make sure everyone in Krita worshipped the Mersat for some reason. And people who weren't were basically seen as the opposing force. Now, what had happened was that they had a leader, and this leader was killed in the Shiver Peak Mountains. And around the same time, the emergence of the royal line came in Krita. They were emerging more, and they were, you know, starting to become in power again in Krita. And this meant that they were going to try to stop the White Mantle. Now, a new leader had been chosen for the White Mantle, and interestingly enough, the Shining Blade killed the last leader of White Mantle. So here you can already see how some of the conflict between the White Mantle and the Shining Blade comes in, because the White Mantle's leader was killed by the Shining Blade. So there was already some conflict between the two groups, and when their leader was killed in the Shiver Peaks, that was caused by the Shining Blade, and they basically elected a new leader. But now with the, you know, with the royal line coming back into power in Krita, they wanted to, you know, make sure that they're in power, not the White Mantle. They didn't want the White Mantle to be in power, so they basically tried to go against the White Mantle, and basically the White Mantle needed to become a bit more tough. They started being a bit more militarized. They made a police force, and what had happened was there was a big conflict. Then, you know, the royal line started killing some of the White Mantle, and the White Mantle were retaliating, and unfortunately a lot of the White Mantle were killed, and a lot of the Mersat were killed as well as the entire White Mantle Council were killed. So big conflict there, and the White Mantle numbers started decreasing actually. So what had happened was that the Shining Blade started growing in power a bit more. The White Mantle was decreasing, and the Shining Blade were increasing in power. And a lot more people started supporting the Shining Blade, especially since the White Mantle were against the monarchy, but the Shining Blade supported the monarchy. So people were now becoming a bit more confident in supporting the Shining Blade since they supported the monarchy, and well, the monarchy obviously supported the people and aimed to protect the people, while the White Mantle was only really focused on worshipping the unseen Mersat gods, while everyone else had to worship them too. So that began the war in Krita between the monarchy, the Shining Blade, and the White Mantle. So as more people started to support the Shining Blade, White Mantle began terrorizing the citizens of Krita. They began cracking down hard on people. Whoever didn't worship were going to be killed and stuff like that. So it was really starting to become a war, and this caused the monarchy to become even more militarized and start hunting down the high-profile the White Mantle targets. And we started seeing big names in the White Mantle started dropping and getting killed from the monarchy and from the Shining Blade. And this caused the White Mantle to become very angry. Of course, a lot of their high-profile people, a lot of their leaders, a lot of their high counselors started getting killed, and they basically retaliated by burning down villages, attacking everyone who was against them, and they even tried to attack Lion's Arch. Unfortunately, they failed, and a lot of them got killed in the attack towards Lion's Arch and in the attack towards Krita in general. So what had happened was that a lot of them started fleeing, and a lot of them left to hide in the Maguma jungle. A lot of them ended up joining the Shining Blade, or basically just standing down and dying. So up until now, they've just been out hiding, and no one really knows where they are. I do think, correct me if I'm wrong, I may be wrong though, but if they fled into the Maguma jungle, doesn't that mean there's probably 1 or 2 outposts in Brisbane Wildlands, maybe? Because there are a lot of bandit camps in Brisbane Wildlands. I don't know too much about the lore in Brisbane Wildlands. I sort of just fled through that area. But let me know if one of you guys know in the comment section if there is a White Mantle camp maybe somewhere in Brisbane Wildlands. I doubt it, though. So they're going to try to reintroduce the White Mantle through this raid wing now, because, well, they haven't been in the Guild Wars franchise for a long time. They haven't been part of the story for a long time because they were a lot of them were killed, a lot of them fled because the Shining Blade basically won and the monarchy won in Krita. So now they're going to try to bring them back into the story. They've been hiding for like over 200 years now. So why not bring them back with, something powerful? They probably built some defenses up. They probably, are ready to get back out there and, spread their beliefs and try to, rally up more people. So that's the aim for this raid wing. You're basically going into a stronghold of the White Mantle, which is a pretty interesting storyline because, we haven't known too much about this group, and it'd be neat to see what they've done. So that's kind of what's going to be coming for the next raid wing. Another thing I wanted to touch on, since we're on the topic of raids, raids are a bit more accessible now. You know how everyone was saying when raids first came out, oh, raids aren't accessible, oh, they're too hard, oh, I don't have 10 friends, oh, I don't have the time, oh, no one invites me, I can't get into any parties, all that crap. I was one of those people as well who was saying, oh, I can't find any people to raid with. Well, quite recently, and actually yesterday, I tried doing my first raid. I'll tell you about that experience soon. But raids are a bit more accessible now, and I will admit that if you're saying raids aren't accessible, it is that you don't want to do them. Because if you literally sit in LFG and say, hey, I am a DPS Tempest, I am a Chrono Tank, I am a CC Thief, I am a, whatever. You type in your class, you say your build, say you're a beginner, there is bound to be someone who picks you up. Not only that, but on the Guild Wars 2 forums and on Reddit, the Guild Wars 2 subreddit, there are people there who are willing to help you and willing to train you and willing to explain you the raids. So there are resources out there. There are people who are willing to help you. There are people who pick you up in the raid lobby who genuinely just want to help people or just need an extra person and they don't mind explaining to you. So it is more accessible to do raids, but... and here's the but. Yesterday, I did my first raid with my friend Mariah. I told her, when she came home from work, I said, today we're going to do our first raid. Are you ready? And she's like, yeah, I guess. So we went online. We put an LFG up. I was like, okay, I'm building DPS, staff, LE. And I helped her with her build because she didn't even have her build set up. And she was building the DPS Chronomancer, right? Now I went into LFG. And we basically found a group very quickly, actually. Someone picked us up. And I made sure in the LFG I put, we are beginners, we'll do any raid. We are beginners, though. We've never done any. And, a group picked us up. They were very nice. And they gave us their TeamSpeak. And I do recommend using TeamSpeak because it makes it so much easier. and they gave us our TeamSpeak. They gave us their TeamSpeak, and we joined their TeamSpeak. Now, while raids are very accessible, and while people are willing to help you, that doesn't mean people are still gonna be assholes to you. Because they're still gonna be assholes to you if they feel like they have to be an asshole. I'm not gonna say that anyone in our TeamSpeak was an asshole, but they were very, what's the word? They were belittling. A lot of people who didn't know what they were doing, they made them feel very belittled, and I don't like that. You know, if you're gonna help people, be nice about it and have patience for them. Don't belittle them, and don't, you know, throw a rage fit, or, you know, be bitchy, you know, if someone makes a mistake, or, you know, it's not even like, I just don't like that attitude. And to be quite honest with you, it wasn't directly towards me or Mariah, but it was indirectly said. And, you know, they were talking about how they helped, you know, people the other day, and they were completely stupid, a bunch of noobs, and they didn't know what they were doing, they were completely blind, and, you know, they didn't have the right gear and whatever. Like, they were just trash talking them. And whether those people were there in that TeamSpeak or not, I just don't like that. I don't like that mentality. I don't like that attitude. If you're gonna help people, you know, be respectful about it. So while there is a higher accessibility rate to do raids, you're still probably gonna have to deal with those jerks that just feel like they're so egotistic and know what they're doing and feel like they need to make everyone else feel terrible. And that's sad, because I expected better from the Guild Wars 2 community. And I'm sure that a lot of people aren't like that, right? There's a lot of people who are not like that. But let's be real, there are still gonna be those people who are like that. So what I do suggest you to do is, I suggest you to find a group that is genuinely nice and is really open to beginners. I think one of the flaws that I made is that there were people in that raid. It was basically an open raid join. It wasn't aimed towards beginners, and it wasn't aimed towards experienced group. It was basically just a join our raid. If you want to do it, we're up to do this. We tried doing Gorseval, and we got it into phase 2 almost, right? So we did fairly good. But then people started leaving. So I would highly recommend you to do it if you want to do it with a group of friends. It makes it a lot easier, makes it a lot more fun. It makes it less stressful. Or if you want to join a strictly beginner group where you're probably not going to get a kill, but you will learn the raid very well. There are groups out there like that, and I'm sure they're a lot more friendly than the one I joined. Like I said, I mean, the TeamSpeak I joined, they weren't necessarily mean. I just didn't like the attitude they had towards some of the players. And, you know, there were a lot of snarky comments, and a lot of, like, belittling statements being said. I just didn't like it. You could tell that they were trying to be nice, but they really wanted to be assholes. So that's just my experience. I'm definitely going to try a rating again, but I'm going to try to find a completely beginner group, or I'm going to try to watch a lot of guides and learn about the raids a lot before I go into it. I suggest you do the same. I said there are videos out there, there are guides out there. Dolphy has guides. Wooden Potatoes has made some guides. Some other YouTubers has made some very specific guides as well, where they go very in depth into explaining the raid wing, where they have, like, you know, replays on screen where they go slow motion and stuff like that. So there are resources out there for you to learn the raid. I highly recommend you, if you are joining a raid group that's just picking up people, at least do the least and watch the video. At least watch the video of other people doing it. At least read up about it, because I will say this: even though people aren't going to be mean to you, you know, show that you at least want to do the raid. Show that you are at least interested in doing the raid by at least watching a video. You know, you can ask questions, you can ask for advice, you can ask for a build, all that kind of stuff. But at least show that you are dedicated to the raid by at least watching a video or reading up about it a little bit. At least do that, at least, you know, because then it sort of just feels like you're throwing all the weight on whoever's teaching you, and it's like you don't really care about it. You just want to be spoon-fed. So at least do that. That's kind of all I wanted to talk about today, because that's kind of all I have on my mind. That's kind of all the news that came out. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I know it was sort of like a rambly / my opinion / newsy video. Hopefully you liked it though. Hopefully you enjoyed it nonetheless. If you have any questions or comments, any of your raid experiences, any experiences you want to share, definitely leave it down in the comment section below, because I'll be down there, obviously, commenting and talking with you guys as usual. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Plenty of Guild Wars 2 content on the channel, plenty more guides to come in the future as well. And if you like this video, you found it helpful, if you enjoyed some of my other videos, you can always donate $1 to my Patreon page. All you gotta do is click the card in the top right corner of the screen, and it'll bring you to the page. Anything as low as that is always very helpful and very much appreciated. And that's pretty much for this video. Thank you for watching as always, and this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.